Well, fuck. Hello. Right. I'm wanting to tell you a story about when I was pioneering. I used to pioneer with two other guys. This was when I was about 17. Two other fuckheads that we'll call Gary and Ross, just for something to call them. And we were really doing the pioneer, what do you call it? I was just another fucking crazy story that comes into your head from time to time. I pioneered for a year in Queensferry when there was a congregation there, and then that congregation got broken up because of some crazy shit that was going down in Edinburgh, and Edinburgh congregations were all mixed up, and a new congregation was formed in Clermont, but we went to a different congregation. We went to Slateford, which covered all like West of Hales and Calders and Sighthill, parts of Edinburgh, Gorgie and Dalry. Some pretty rough shit for Edinburgh. But that's where we were pioneering. So I just joined this congregation, and two of my friends were already in it, Gary and Ross, and we were just like 17 and total fuckheads. I don't even know why Gary was pioneering. I really, really don't know why Gary was a pioneer, because he didn't seem to give a shit about it. Ross gave a bit more of a shit. He was a bit more into it from time to time, but really just pissing about. I was like really embarrassingly serious about the whole thing, serious about pioneering. And they used to fucking love that, because they could get such a rise out of me, because I was just like the straight man to their idiots. So anyway, in Slateford, the meeting was on a Thursday night, and every Thursday night Gary and Ross had been invited round to a single sister's house. This sister lived with her mum in Calders, just near West of Hales. So this was the thing that they would go to. And this sister, her thing, everybody said about her, was that she was a fantastic cook, and she was okay, but that was, oh, you got to go around to the sisters for your dinner. That was, for weeks people would be saying, oh, when are you going to the sisters? So I got my invite, just go around to the sister and her mum's house on the Thursday night before the meeting. So we'd been out in the ministry all day, we're in our suits and shit and trench coats, and we turn up at this flat in the Calders, where the sister's cooking for us, and because it's my first night there, she's doing something special. So she'd asked me, what do you like? And I'm fucking 17, I don't think about how much anything's going to cost or anything, and I just said, oh, I like steak. So the sister was going to do steak and chips and like a dessert for us before we went to the meeting on the Thursday. So there's this, in the kitchen there's this little table that sits 4 people, and the sister's sitting there, her mum is across from me, Ross is on one side and Gary's on the other, and we start having our Thursday night meal. And this is her way. This is like her getting involved and trying to help the pioneers, and it's always encouragement that if you don't pioneer yourself, then you should have the pioneer spirit. And so this is her pioneer spirit by putting on a meal. So the fact that it's expensive, she's probably like quite happy with that, because this is a sacrifice to Jehovah that she's putting on a meal every week for the pioneers and helping us get by. These little pisshead fuckers that we were. So we're having the meal, we're sitting down, and suddenly Mary, the mum, starts to choke, like fucking horrendously. She's like, and I'm like, oh shit, fuck, Mary's going to choke to death here. And I'm kind of foxed because I want to rush over and help, but nobody else is reacting at all. They're just like, just eating their dinner, some chat's still going on, nobody is reacting at all. At all. There's nothing, not a flicker. And they're just carrying on like Mary isn't fucking choking to death. She's choking to death. She's about 80, this woman. This wee frail woman. And she's like, so I'm like, shit, what do I do? But Mary's getting up now. And she's getting up and she staggers across like police academy style, using every worktop to like get her way around to where the sink is. And she's like, pouring herself a glass of water, and takes a sip of water and turns around to me and says, I've got a narrow throat. And and the sister, Iona, I wasn't going to say her name, but Iona turns to me and says, my mum's got a narrow throat, don't worry about it. And I'm fucking white as a sheet, because I'm thinking that we're going to have to be burying her later, but Mary had a narrow throat, and this apparently happens every fucking week, so often during the meal that everybody's just like, oh fuck, here we go again, and not bothered. It's actually pissing them off. Mary's choking and her face is going blue. So then yeah, that was that. Every Thursday night we got to watch Mary nearly die, and it became a thing that we would do if anybody had a croaky voice or we just wanted to like fuck with each other. We would just go and all that shit and say that we had a narrow throat. So I don't think we really made much of the narrow throat and what that might give you a problem with, but yeah, that was the joke. And it's so bizarre to think that that was a thing that I went to every week for years. For years we'd go to Iona's, and that was just part of it. Mary's fucking narrow throat. So there you are. I want to welcome you to my channel. I'm going to be doing a few videos. I'm going to try and just get some of these crazy stories out. So many mental stories. I'm not really here to be bashing the witnesses' beliefs. I'm not one of those channels where I want to pull down the watchtower. Although I'd be very happy if that happened. I just want to tell you some fucking funny stories because I've got so many of them and I want to get them out. I'm not really interested if you want to pull me down. Go suck a fuck. I'm going to be doing this anyway, and I don't want to be getting into a to and fro about the beliefs because I've done a lot of that for a very long time, and I'm where I am now. It's still very funny. I still love a lot of the people who go along to the hall. It makes me very sad that they are being misled by what I think of as a cult. And if you want to find out more about that kind of thing, I would really recommend the Reddit website. And Reddit ex-JW is a really good place to find a lot of people talking about their stories, about how they've changed in their beliefs and what they believe now. Lots of resources on the side for finding out about why I believe that Jehovah's Witnesses are a cult, what kind of things that they've been doing that are quite scandalous, and why you shouldn't touch them with a barge pole, and just historically how they have fucked with a lot of people's lives. So I'm not a fan, but it was part of my life. That's how I grew up. It's what I believed passionately and with a lot of conviction for a lot of years. So I was really involved. I was really going for it. I wanted to be a missionary. I went to Bethel. I was a pioneer. I was a ministerial servant. I got disfellowshipped. So I've seen all around that side of things. And then I faded about. I first came to realise I didn't believe in God about 13, 14 years ago. I started my fade pretty soon after going through a lot of torture, soul searching and all of that, and a lot of study. I did a lot of study, and eventually faded to the point of leaving altogether, and that was about 7 years ago. For a long time, even when I was completely out, not going to any meetings, I would keep quiet. I would toe the line. I wouldn't do anything that I wouldn't have done as a witness. So that felt very false after a while. It felt very much like I wasn't being my own person. I wasn't living my own life. I wasn't speaking about the things I would want to speak about. And I've got to the point where I think it's actually quite important for me to speak about what I want to speak about, tell my story, not be afraid to badmouth Jehovah's Witnesses, the Watchtower Society, just speak my mind about all that. But also I think it's quite important that people who might be thinking about getting involved know what they're getting involved with. And also, honestly, some of these stories are just so crazy, they're just so fucking funny, that I have to tell them because it's brilliant. So stick around and hopefully enjoy the other videos.